What's up, YouTube? First of all, if you watched yesterday's video, or whatever day this comes up, if you watched the last video, and you noticed that I'm pretty much wearing the same stuff, first of all, good eye. Way to pay attention. I don't know. Second, it's because it's the same day. I mentioned in the that video about a hurricane headed straight toward us. As of right now, Hurricane Irma it's like 1,900 miles off the East Coast. They have no idea where it's going. There are like 20 different projections or whatever. But they are saying that it's a high possibility Florida is going to be directly in the path, or it's going to go under Florida and then come back up the Gulf. They're not sure, but the storm itself so far is bad enough that the governor of the state of Florida has issued a state of emergency. Which means if I didn't get up after already coming home and, I grabbed the 4 gallons of water, whatever it was I grabbed earlier, if I didn't get up and go then, there would be nothing left. And it was already a madhouse. I went to Publix. If you're in the South, Publix is already like the greatest store ever, grocery-wise. If you're not, then I'm sorry that you don't have a Publix. They really are. They're probably the best. I feel bad for you. But this is some of this was stuff I had, and I'm actually going to go through because this is going to be like a generic video. But this is stuff that I got just today, and I'm going to flip the camera. But all of that is from today's, going out and gathering supplies. We don't really know what's going to happen. Last time we were like so dead set. Last year, Hurricane Matthew, we were in the path. We were going to get it, and Jacksonville Beach on the East Coast, they were missing, a lot of...
St. Augustine was horrible, too.
Yeah, St. Augustine, half of A1A, the road collapsed. It was pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to downplay it, but we're far enough into the west. Matthew didn't hit us. Hopefully the same thing happens with Irma. We'll see. But I have always lived under the thing. And I'm not one of those, I'm not going to be on the Discovery Channel, doomsday preppers or anything like that, but I have always lived by the ideal that it's better to be prepared and not need it than to need it and not be prepared. Yeah, come here, because that is a great point. What she just said off camera and could barely be heard. Say that again.
Mostly people so in Kansas, they have tornadoes all the time. So those people are they're used to tornadoes. So they're like, oh, one's coming. Some people might be like, all right, well, that's dumb. I'm not going to go to my shelter unless it's the last minute possible, because who knows what's going to happen. Here in Florida, everyone is so used to tropical storms and hurricanes and any kind of rain weather that when people say, oh, a hurricane's coming, everyone's like, yeah, well, we might just, lose power for an hour or two, worst case scenario. But, there's no reason to stock up on canned food and water and everything like that. I can just go to Walmart or Publix or Target or whatever and get more.
Yeah, exactly. We live in an on-demand society. People are like, oh, I can get it whenever. But if something were to happen, and even when I went to Publix, because Publix is awesome, right? The stock manager himself was putting out gallons of water. I'm looking all over the place. I don't know. They're in the corner on the floor. It's on the floor. He was putting out gallons of water, and he explained to me the way they're going to do it is they're supposed to get more tomorrow. But if the storm track changes to where the storm is going to hit South Florida, and they do have public stores in South Florida and in Central Florida, they're going to immediately reroute their trucks to go to where it's needed, which is, one, it's a really good business practice. Good on them. Two, that's how awesome they are that the manager's just chilling, talking while stocking water to people that are panicking, and I'm not trying to panic. But they're prepared. They know, they have this idea in their head, and even in today's on-demand society, where everybody's like, oh, I'll just go to Publix if I need it. Well, Publix is already one step ahead, and if someone else needs it more, you're not going to be able to get it. Same thing with stuff like this. Like I said, this is what I got today. We do have other stuff at the ready, just in case, because we live in Florida, and I don't like to live in the on-demand mentality. If something happens, I want to be ready for it just in case. But I said in the last video, I drink water by the gallon regardless. I will drink it out of a gallon all day long throughout my day. So I've got empty gallons that I'll fill up and take to work a couple days a week. I don't know that was kind of a sidetrack.
We have never been, where we live anyway, at a point where we've had to evacuate. There has never been, it's been talked about, and it's always been a possibility that we always might have to during a storm, but we never actually have had to yet. But if they say, the first time they say, oh, you need to evacuate, we're going to leave. We're not going to sit here and try to, play the odds or be like, oh, we have enough stuff, you know, we'll be all right. If they say leave, we have 3 kids, a dog, and just look at the toy. And my family is more important to me than risking, you know, what if, like, just because we could stay, just because, you know, whatever. Like, I mean, it's just not worth it. I mean, if they tell you to leave, leave. It's not a game. It's not like, let's just hope for the best type of deal.
Absolutely. And I never want to politicize anything, especially like on my YouTube channel at the very least. I will say that it was handled terrible for Hurricane Harvey, and those people that are dealing with what they're dealing with now, that is an awful scenario. And it was within the politicians' hands to declare an evacuation, and they're like, oh, we don't know. They didn't do it. And even when there is, a lot of people don't listen. If your officials tell you that you need to evacuate, there's a reason. I mean, even if they're wrong, it goes back to the whole doing it because you're expecting doom. That's not the way to look at it. It's better safe than sorry is the best way to describe it. But you hear that so much that it kind of loses its meaning, that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's whatever, I'll stay.
You can replace things. You can replace your house. You can replace vehicles. You can replace clothes, you know, Xboxes, computers, TVs, whatever. You can't replace your kids. You can't replace your family, your animals, any of that.
Right. People died in Texas. Like, that's the bottom line. You should never have to hear anything beyond that to be like, oh, well, I mean, should I have evacuated? No, people died. That's it. And I'm going to go 2 parts. I'm already at 7 minutes on this video and we're just rambling. But I'm going to do 2 parts because I have 2 setups. And one is just in case we have to evacuate. So I'm going to jump into that. First is what we got. This is today. This is if we are hunkered down right here. We can eat, like if we're without power, if they don't tell us to evacuate, but the power goes out for a few days, we have enough food, we have enough water, and then my wife's emergency supplies. Yeah.
I might go get more. Well, when I get more water tomorrow.
Yeah. We're gonna get some more water because I think the average, I want to say it's like 1 gallon of water per person per day. We've got 5 of us and a dog. The dog probably could drink a gallon of water a day. I don't know if the dog is gonna drink a gallon of water a day. We just got her, but
we have some jugs that are filled up in our garage that we emptied, like soda bottles and stuff that have water in them that we'll probably give to the dog.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to quote it, but look it up, Google it. There is a formula. If you have liquid bleach, if you just have water stored somewhere, there's a couple drops per liter or per 2 liters per I don't know. I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm not going to tell you wrong, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sick from bleach poisoning, and it's Dorky Dad's fault." No, I'm not doing that. But stuff like this we can have here, or if and we have kids, and they like to be involved in everything, even if they're not the best behaved children, they still like to be involved. So I can say, hey, I can hand them a backpack and be like, hey, we got to go soon. I need you to take every canned good in our pantry and put it in a backpack. And they will. We'll end up with probably a lot more Chef Boyardee than we will with soup. But they'll do it. And then we can just come in and double check while we get other stuff ready. But generally, and I'm going to stand up for this, this is a bucket that is the exact size to fit in our car. Always in this is if we have to grab and go, because, you know, if we're stuck here, we can chill, we can eat. We've got candles. Yeah, we've got candles. We've got flashlights. This is a 200 lumen flashlight.
We can grill out burgers.
Yeah, we've got a grill out there.
Don't show our backyards for now.
Yeah, that's gross. We've got a grill out back. But this is a 200 lumen flashlight. It's got a glow-in-the-dark handle. You don't have to have anything this crazy, but I just happen to have it. I like it. And then I've got these little things. I dropped that. I've got 3 of them. One's on the floor now. They're $1 each, and the kids love them. I can hand it to them, and then they feel like they're involved. You know, like, because we lost power for a little bit last time. It wasn't anything crazy with Hurricane Matthew, but we did lose power for a little bit. But then in this bag back here, I'm going to flip the camera around. It's a portable grill. And I've got it bagged in there because the box was falling apart and it was crazy. It is a portable grill that can use both gas and charcoal. It's got a charcoal tray, but it also has the hookup. I can hook it up to a regular size propane tank or to one of the little green Coleman camping propane tanks. And that's if we have to go. That bag with a grill in it is in this bucket, ready to go. Also in this bucket is this backpack, and it generally has these supplies I'm going to sit down and do that. And there's more, and I always recommend, add personal stuff, especially if you have kids. The kids are going to want comfort items. The dog is going to want, a beef knuckle. Yeah, a big old cow knuckle that she can gnaw on. But this is generic stuff. I used to work for a company that was a subsidy of Johnson & Johnson, and they gave all the employees this little kit, and in here is a bunch of samples, including a first aid kit, Neosporin, whatever the chapstick, the Neutrogena lip balm or whatever. Yeah, basically chapstick. But it's their stuff. But they gave us all small sizes of it, which was really cool, and that stays in this bag just in case. I'll get to that last. Gauze, you never know. Like, gauze can be used as a makeshift rag, or it can be used if you need gauze for something, because you never know what's going to be out there. You could be on the road, and this is a SOG multi-tool. It's an e-tool, an entrenching tool. Basically what that means is that it's a compact fold-up shovel. Let's say we have to evacuate, right? And we get stuck on the road for extra extended... Ideally, this is like if a limb falls on the road and you need to smack at it. So there's one serrated side. We've got some chopping tools and stuff. But realistically, what this is for is if you get stuck on the side of the road and you got to drop a deuce, you can dig a hole, you can cover it.
Is that really what it's for?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
It is. But it's, it's one of those things that if you're prepared for it, it's not as weird when it actually has to happen. I mean, stuff like that. Batteries, you can always use batteries. Like I said, we've got flashlights. And pretty much everything now, like tons of stuff uses batteries. Bandanas are good for multi-purpose stuff. You can use it to tie stuff off. You can use it as a head covering if it's like neck covering. And this part is a little more, it's 100% optional. But if you know me, you know that I'm a bit of a germaphobe. So this is a CPR pocket resuscitator. And what this does, and all it is, and hopefully I never ever have to perform CPR. I am CPR certified. My wife is CPR certified. But if I ever have to, like if you're dying, I'm going to need you to die slowly because I'm going to get this out. And basically it's a little cup. I put it over your mouth and then I breathe into that tube so I don't ever have to lip touch you. Because germs are gross, especially if you're out on the road, you have to evacuate, you're stuck on the side of the road, people get impatient on the road and slam their car into somebody else.
Maybe just because I went to medical school, but that doesn't bother me, and I would definitely probably just get the person CPR without even having to reach that.
That's fine. I'll let her start while I start getting my little cup out.
Because my kids have been to medical school, I can't, just go through all that.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, over here, for the house stuff, we've got batteries and stuff. Like pretty much anything in the house stuff you can grab and go. This is a metal mess kit. It stays with the grill, and it's so, I mean, all of this, the soup and stuff like that is pre-cooked. It tastes better warmed up. If you're feeling like you miss the comforts of home, you can do that. But if we ever need to boil water, ever need to cook something, I don't know, whatever the situation may be, like I said, it's better to have it and never ever need it. This is still unopened. I hope that I never need it, because I mean, if we go camping or something, I'm gonna get way better supplies.
We also now all have rain jackets, and I have rain boots. You're the one that doesn't, but we got those for Disney because we were thinking we might still go to Disney depending upon how the weather is going to turn out, and if it's gonna, even if it doesn't directly hit Florida the way it's going to happen, we're probably still going to have the outer bands and probably going to still have a lot of rain. So we're prepared for that regardless if we go or not. We know it's going to probably rain anyway. But, I mean, even if it gets bad enough and we have to evacuate, we're probably still going to need the rain jackets and all of that stuff too. So it's good to have that.
Even if it's not an emergency scenario, it's never bad to be prepared. Walmart, the best one I got at Academy Sports. But Walmart sells $10, $20, fold up, stowable, actual rain jackets. Not the cheap ponchos, not the things that you'll get and sweat to death in. Not the things
that are $1.
Yeah, not the ones that are normally $1, but Disney is going to charge you $8 for because they put a Mickey Mouse on the chest plate. For $10, you can get a jacket. It'll button up, it'll zip up. Yeah, she got one for $9. And it's in the camping section because it's made for camping and it's made to be stowed in case of an emergency. And it may not be as bad as a hurricane, but stuff like that is an emergency. So being prepared for stuff is never bad. But when you have a state of emergency issue, you know that all this stuff is going to disappear
fast.
So start getting ready. if you are in Florida, get ready, because the governor, at 1,900 miles out, if the governor's calling for a state of emergency, that means that they know something is going to happen.
That's as soon as he's called for one, or any governor in Florida has called for one, with it being that far out. I mean, don't quote me on that. I don't know for a fact, but that, from as long as I've been alive, as long as I can remember in my 26 years of existence, that is the farthest out he's called for one.
Yeah.
So I never know.
And again, this is just stuff that I grabbed today, and this is our Go box that has stuff in it. A couple other things. We have candles. You can never have too many candles, especially if the power is a problem. I mean, first aid supplies. In an accident, the last thing you want to do is be the guy that ended up dying because you couldn't properly clean out a simple scrape. You know, you got to clear a limb out of your backyard. First responders can't get to you, and you end up getting some sort of bacteria that could have easily been prevented with a little bit of Neosporin, sorry, I'm not paid by the company that they're by Johnson & Johnson or whatever in any way.
We also have off-brand Neosporin. Yeah. Walmart sells it for 88 cents. You know, if you don't want to get the expensive stuff.
So yeah, if you don't want to be the guy that got hit by a stick, and now because they didn't have 88-cent triple antibiotic ointment and an adhesive medical strip, because Band-Aid is a name brand, you don't want to be that guy. So have stuff, like little stuff. If you gotta,
it's inexpensive. You can, like I said, you can go to Walmart and stock up on all of it for 88 cents a piece. So like, there's no excuse for it. Dollar Tree, less expensive options. You don't have to go for the more, the name brand stuff. Like, I mean, if you can and you want to, I mean, by all means, do what you want to do. But if you can't, then there's other options out there.
But yeah, having 3 kids, we do have some stuff that is definitely just emergency preparedness stuff. But stuff like stuff like Neosporin and Band-Aids and things like that, we're gonna use throughout the year. So anytime you're in the line at Walmart and you're at the 88-cent little medical area right there by the registers, grab ibuprofen, grab Neosporin, grab whatever. Just grab what you need, and then if you have to use it, replenish it. Sorry.
Remember, to stock up too, if you have little kids, diapers, wipes, all that kind of stuff, feminine products that you might need. All that stuff. And feminine products you can use for other things too. Not trying to be gross, but I mean, there's multi-purpose for them.
I'm gonna go full-blown military, and this is gonna make me sound like a doomsday prepper here, but I'm gonna blame the Army on this. Tampons will fill a bullet wound. People looting, people shooting. I'm not telling you what to do with your life.
Hopefully we don't have to go to that kind of area. Don't want to be a part of that.
That I never wanted to come. And that's the other thing is, like I said, I will never go political in any way on my vlog. At least I don't intend to. But self-defense is another thing. If you are legally allowed, and I stress that because there are a lot of ways around that. There's a lot of bad people in this world. If you are legally allowed to do so, have a way to protect your family. Without going into details or anything that would be a political or a polarizing subject, your family's safety should always come first, and that is what you should prepare for. Hunger, dehydration, that's on the floor over there, so I'm pointing at the table. Hunger, dehydration, self-protection, those are the key things that should be at the front of your mind when you are doing this. I mean, there are tons of lists out there. I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate the emergency preparedness list that's on, Florida's government website right now, Texas website. But, look into what you need to do. Be prepared. Pick up little stuff throughout the, just whenever you're at a place. Get it a little bit at a time.
Things that aren't going to go bad anyway.
Oh, and one other thing that I wanted to go over. 3 things that I lied. Grab an extra 20-pound minimum bag of dog food. If you have a bigger dog, she's still a puppy, but she's big. Get what you think your dog needs. 3-day minimum. So we've got a family of 5. The minimum is 1 gallon of water a day per person. So we would, right there, 15 gallons of water.
I don't drink a gallon of water a day. I probably should.
You should.
You should. I don't.
But that also accounts for, because if the plumbing goes out,
true,
you're not going to be able to flush the toilet. So that
I'm
gallon.
Shower at some point.
Yeah, you're going to want to clean up. Baby wipes. Baby wipes are another good one.
We need to get more of those too.
But yeah, minimum dog food. Number 2, rice and most beans either don't expire or they expire so far out that it's not anything that you should have to worry about. Get a giant bag of rice. Boil water, make rice. Super simple. You can count that into your gallons or get an extra gallon per family a day to make right. It's easy, and that's bare emergency. That's like when canned goods and stuff like that starts running low, rice does not expire. Boil water, eat rice. And then also, technically this is a food grade bucket, but this is just some more stuff that you may not think about that, it's worth having. Gloves, just in case. Like I said, down trees, things like that. These gloves are a little more heavy duty. They got plenty. Stuff like this you can grab it. Yeah, stuff like this you can grab at Dollar Tree. 3M masks. One of the main things, especially when water and rising water levels, flooding, things like that are involved, mold and mildew will come out of walls, especially if the water sets. Or if you have an older home and it gets water damaged, asbestos, lead-based paint, things like that will start to be deteriorated with flooding. So these are good when you are going back into your home once flooding has occurred. So this is a bucket that we can grab with this blue thing. This bucket goes with us. When you come home, these are good to have. This is basically knockoff Tylenol, I want to say.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Knockoff Tylenol from the Dollar Tree.
Glow sticks.
Glow sticks are always good to have if your batteries run low. Tweezers of multiple kinds. I don't even know, I don't remember why I got those, but they're...
You never know.
You never know. Duct tape. Toothbrushes. If you have to grab and go in a hurry, these are things that are easily forgotten. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, another small first aid kit. Wow, they run the world, is what they do. That company,
What is it?
J&J. Yeah, Band-Aids, things like that. Zip ties. There's nothing in the world that can't be fixed with duct tape and zip ties. And if it is, you're doing it wrong.
I think this is cold medicine.
Yes, that is cold medicine. And another good thing for space saving. Hold on, let me turn this around. I did this for space saving. Because these come in giant boxes, right? So take out the medicine itself, cut open the box, make sure you get the tab or the part of it that has the ingredients and the dosage recommendations. Put it in a smaller bag, space saving. What do you got?
Non-drowsy, nasal decongestant.
Nasal decongestant, non-drowsy.
Maybe.
This one is super important. Like, you laugh, but one of the biggest things, like I said, hydration is important, but when you're down to a gallon of water per person per day, rehydrating, especially without Pedialyte or whatever, is not an easy task. And you drink one piece of water, like drink something off the side of the road that got bacteria in it, you're going to have a bad time.
I'll be the only one that doesn't need that.
That's gross. But this is super important, and this was $1. So get what you need.
Toilet paper. There's more medicine down in there somewhere.
Also super important. Yes, there is ibuprofen in both of those. I know that. I remember that. I'm not digging it out. But again, that's space saving. Ibuprofen. Toilet paper is important.
We need a bigger
Same
bottle
reason
of
the
this.
Imodium is.
We need a bigger bottle.
This is a small bottle just for space. Germex. Sanitizer is important.
Sunscreen. Also, you don't realize if you're out during the day, even when there's no sun, you can still get sunburned. So if you are out and it's raining, and even if you're trying to help people clean up their mess, or you were just stuck outside, or whatever the scenario is, you can still get sunburned without the sun beating down on you. I know that for a fact because it's happened to me several times. So sunscreen. Again,
$1. Like, I got this bucket for like $4 or less at Walmart, and pretty much everything in it came from Dollar Tree. So Band-Aid. Adhesive medical strips. Band-Aids are trademarked.
More gauze.
Gauze. This did not come from the Dollar Tree, and this is important. This is hemostatic gauze. What this is gauze that it has, it's made of regenerated, etherized, and oxidized natural fiber cellulose. And what that does is if you have an open wound, it gets to the blood, it causes the blood to clot, it causes the blood to coagulate, and it closes the wound.
It can save your life.
It can. It's not good for long term, but short term, if you are bleeding more than you should be, this could save your life until you can get to a point that you can address the situation. That came from Walgreens. It cost more than $1.
Washcloths.
Rags, washcloths.
Just
You
old
may
ones.
need
Just
those.
grab some old
That
ones
may
you
be
don't
the
really care
closest
about.
thing to a shower you have for a couple days. And then
Tissues.
tissues.
We need to get some more stuff.
But again, this is all, quick grab and go stuff, or stuff that if you are stuck at home for 3 days with no power and you're like, oh, I got the liquid poops coming on.
We have other stuff up there, but.
Yeah, we have our normal day-to-day stuff, but that's why this is in a nice bucket with a handle. Grab, go. Same bucket, you can fit a 20-pound bag of rice in, throw some of those little silica gel things in. Like I said, rice doesn't expire. I've said it repeatedly because you got to drill it in your head. Eat rice. It's you can get a ton of it for cheap and live off of it. Maybe not the healthiest thing, but the bottom line is this: Harvey has devastated Texas because a lot of people weren't ready. Florida has lived through this repeatedly, and it's been a lot of false alarms. So a lot of people are like,
boy that's cried wolf. Like, you keep thinking that you're like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then eventually everyone's like, it's just rain. I mean, come on, guys, get real. And then people each time, I think, prepare less. Some people do anyway. I mean, people still buy water and stuff, but when it comes to like more in-depth stuff, they're like, we're just buy water, canned food, that's it. And then what if the time comes and actually, like, what if Irma comes and it's like, screw you, Florida, and the whole Florida gets wiped out, all of Florida, and it keeps going, and then other states get impacted, and all of us are like, well, we didn't, prepare. We're sitting here, we have no food, we have like everything we have is run out. We never evacuated. If they're alive to say that, I mean, it's sad, but it's true.
If you have to evacuate and all you have is 3 days worth of canned goods and 3 days worth of water, you're going to be relying on the kindness of strangers for a very long time. And you should never be reliant on anybody else. You should, if you have trustworthy people in your life, or, if somebody wants to help, that's fine. But you're not entitled to what belongs to anybody else, and you should never depend on anybody else. You should be able to depend, but you should not depend on anybody else. It's human nature. It's the way life is. So be ready, be prepared, and as always, hey, look at my cool apron. Stay dorky.